Hi there everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. My name is Jared, and on behalf of our team at Ingram Micro, as well as Microsoft, it is a pleasure to have this time with you to go through some incredibly exciting stuff. We are going to be talking through the new Copilot PCs. This is us reinventing a category and providing an entire suite of AI-ready devices across device manufacturers. If you've been selling devices for a while, you know that's not that common, where we have a slide like you see on the screen here, where I have a NASCAR array of logos across the top representing devices across the entire Windows ecosystem. Now, before we get started, I do want to let you know how you can interact with us today. We're broadcasting to you live here from our studio in Seattle, and I very much value your questions. So if you do have a question at any point, or even just a comment, go ahead and click the chat tab of this Teams meeting and write it there. I have a monitor here in the studio where I can see those questions as they come in live, so I always love when that happens. Let me know if you have a question at any point. All right, so the reason we are doing all of this is because of artificial intelligence. And I know, yet another webinar where we go into the depths of AI. I do want to set the stage here though, because that is one of the key differentiators of Copilot PCs. And it is something that the customers are telling us this is going to shape the future of their business. In a recent study, our Microsoft audience study, 75% of CEOs believe that the organization with the most advanced generative AI wins. Well, not to make everything a competition, but when we see such an importance being placed on that, we got to think about how we can provide devices to meet that goal. When 73% of companies are prioritizing AI over all other digital investment, which is a very bold claim for 73% of respondents to agree with, we know that we have a job here, a job to make sure that we're building devices that are ready for them. I do want to go into some of these specifics around our PC market. Of course, there was a huge boom of devices sold during COVID, and of course, with Windows 10's end of service coming up here in October of 2025, we are projecting to see a 6% PC growth through the remainder of 2024 and a continued growth of 2.5% in 2025. Copilot PCs being a big part of that growth. And so on the flip side, when we launch something new, it's early adopters who are ready to go and get those devices into their hands. How many early adopters are there? According to these studies by IDC, 53% of enterprise customers and 39% of small to mid-sized businesses will be early adopters of AI PCs. We're not used to 39 or 53% of any customer being ready for early adoption, right? In business, typically, there's a bit of a lull to it. But we are seeing interest. We're registering enthusiasm among these customers because of what it can bring to their teams and the power that generative AI is having to transform the way that they get things done. In a recent study here by the Harvard Business School and Boston Consulting Group, they had found that the number of tasks completed and subtasks completed are just over 12% of an increase when that employee is aided by generative AI. 25.1% decrease in the amount of time it takes to do that, and an over 40% increase in the quality of the responses to the subtasks. So it's working, right? People are using AI and they want a device that is ready for it. And so that is why we are launching this new era of PCs. Copilot PCs is a new category that we are positioning, and it's not only us. We partnered with our OEM partners and our silicon manufacturers in order to put forward devices that can really take the argument to the customer of why Windows would be a good choice. We have these facts about Copilot PCs. All-day battery life across these family, with some devices lasting up to 22 hours of video playback. We finally have devices that can compete processor-wise and battery life-wise with the MacBook Air and MacBook Pro, with a neural processing unit that is twice as fast. This is the best battery performance of any Windows PC ever. And this is thanks to some of this innovative, game-changing new silicon. Now, I know, I said the word game-changing, and we talk about game-changing things a lot. I mean this sincerely when I say that the Snapdragon X Elite and the Snapdragon X Plus processors are game-changing. They mark a significant shift in Windows computing technology, that we are finally able to provide devices with battery life that lives up to those quotes and surpasses expectations, with power and performance that can run robust applications in thinner and thinner form factors. And using these new AI capabilities, we are able to infuse new ways of working into their day-to-day. Maybe you've seen a bit of Copilot Plus, and you saw the video we just played moments ago. I have another video for you, but this one is centered around the commercial customer, using Copilot Plus PCs at work. This shows a bit of the day in the life. Take a look.
Idea to transform her business. And with her Windows 11 Copilot Plus PC, she's ready to turn that idea into action. It all starts here. Recall remembers almost everything seen on Marcella's PC. In a personalized timeline, she can scroll or search to find exactly what she needs. And Recall provides her with privacy controls over what it can save. Her PC's neural processing unit's blistering fast performance powers unmatched AI capabilities, like live captions that can translate 40+ languages into English in real time, enhancing Marcella's communication with her teams around the world. And creating impactful summaries and striking images is faster than ever, so Marcella's team can craft presentations that go farther. When it's time for the big investor call, exclusive AI-powered Windows Studio effects like portrait light and eye contact give Marcella the professional polish she needs to shine. Unlock your team's superpowers with Windows 11 Copilot Plus PCs. A new AI era begins at work with the fastest, most intelligent Windows PCs ever.
Think about what we just saw there. There is a lot of AI-powered experiences that she was using. The ability to translate from languages live with captions, the Windows Recall feature showing snapshots in time of the user on the PC and bringing that information to them immediately. This is what's possible with a Copilot Plus PC. But of course, anytime we roll out new features, we need to make sure that we're doing that in a very secure way. So I want to start there with security and talk a bit about the Microsoft Pluton security processor. These latest devices run an ARM architecture. And if you're not as familiar, for most Intel processors from today into the past are x86 as an architecture. ARM is a little bit different, a bit more modern, requires some emulation to run some older applications, and getting security just right is really important. Years ago, we created the Pluton processor so that we can have an advanced level of security with a dedicated chip that is there designed to run these types of applications. Our Copilot Plus PCs do feature this, which is why they are considered secure core PCs. Pluton can be used itself as a TPM chip, or if the PC already has one, it can work together with a discrete TPM chip. This specific security processor secures the encryption, the BitLocker encryption, and much more on these devices, whether it's using x86 and Intel-based processors or ARM and Qualcomm-created processors. You have that unique experience across the board. And soon, that won't matter which architecture you're using, because we have in a I won't say an industry first, because there's other things that all of these organizations have aligned on, but in a rarity, Qualcomm, AMD, Intel, and NVIDIA are all working together to create processors and silicon for Copilot Plus PCs. I'm very excited to see the offerings from AMD, Intel, and NVIDIA as they come available in the coming year. But currently, right now, Qualcomm is the only processor manufacturer that is providing chipsets for Copilot Plus PCs with the Snapdragon X Elite and Snapdragon X Plus processors. These are quite powerful, and they need to be, because Copilot Plus PCs have a set of minimum requirements that are set by us at Microsoft. In order to be called a Copilot Plus PC, it must meet this criteria: 16 gigabytes of RAM, because 8 gigabytes of RAM is not enough. No. In today's era, we need something that is just a bit more powerful. Storage needs to be at least 256 gigabytes. And when we talk about the neural processing unit, this is a specific chip that is designed to use neural networks to mimic our human brain, and it's exceptionally good at processing AI capabilities. It needs to have not just any neural processing unit, but one that is 40 trillion operations per second or greater as its performance. This has meant that previous devices that we referred to as AI PCs, because they have a neural processing unit, if it was an Intel Core Ultra, that processor has 11 trillion operations per second. Thus, it cannot be called a Copilot Plus PC. This is why you are seeing some devices calling themselves an AI PC and some devices calling themselves a Copilot Plus PC. Copilot Plus PCs meet that higher security benchmark. An important distinction. Yes, I know that this is confusing. We are doing our best to talk about this with customers in a way that makes sense. Copilot Plus PCs meet those requirements. There's an important reason that they need to, because the neural processing unit is exceptionally good at taking these AI workloads. I'm about to show you 3 videos at the same time. We asked 3 different computers to run a script that creates AI-generated faces, exact same faces. We had one computer that is only using a processor, another computer that has a processor and a dedicated graphics card, and then a third computer that has a processor and a neural processing unit without a dedicated graphics card. Here's the head-to-head race. Take a look. These videos will run in sequence with each other now. The neural processing unit understands this task very well. The traditional CPU, it's a lot of work and a lot of power required for the processor to do it. Now the fans are turning on. You can see that one computer with a dedicated graphics card is doing a little better than the CPU. However, the neural processing unit is just crushing it as it moves through face after face after face pretty consistently, not getting stalled up by any of these as it goes. This is really useful for our customers when we're running those AI-powered activities, things like Windows Studio effects and these new Copilot Plus PC features that we'll cover here in our session today. And I do want to dive into some of those features. There are some incredible superpowers, as our marketing team likes to call them, to help users be even more productive. Starting with those Windows Studio effects. So we have the ability to simulate the lighting in an environment. So we don't have to go grab a lamp from the other room, but we can have better lighting using AI to enhance certain dark areas within the image. This runs on the hardware level. So it really doesn't matter if you're using Teams or Zoom or the camera app, you'll have access to all of these capabilities. Background blur is nothing new. We've had that for a while, but this one's a bit better. It's good at understanding things like your hair or headphones that you're wearing and that sort of thing, and getting a better crop and having a better background blur that runs natively through the device's camera output. Really nice to see. We also have a feature called eye contact. I mean, eye contact is pretty important. If I started delivering my entire presentation looking down here, it is not the same level of connection that we share with when I raise my eyes and I look at you. But if I have to reference notes, this feature uses AI to artificially raise the eye gaze so that it appears as if they are making eye contact, to varying degrees of success. But it has made a difference, and it does feel like you're having even more of a connection. We have voice focus, which can filter out any unnecessary noise. Most times when we hear echo suppression or background noise reduction, that is taking certain wavelengths of sound, certain frequencies, and saying, human voices aren't usually there, we'll cut those out. Human voices aren't usually here, we'll cut those out. This is smarter. This is looking at the waveforms of the audio, and you listened to a lot of human voices to train, and it knows what is a human vocal wave pattern and what is from a computer speaker. That differentiation there is really key and allows for some of the most accurate voice filtering technology possible, so that you don't have that background noise and you still have crisp, clear audio, even if there's loud music playing in the room. Beyond that, the instant translation ability is key. We've had live captions since Windows 11 launched. That now is gaining the ability to translate whatever is on your screen, pre-recorded, live, a random video, you name it, it will take that in its native language and translate it into your language. And that really does help to connect people. I do some of these events at some odd times of the day for our colleagues in Japan. So having the ability for them to speak in their own native language and convey ideas, and I can hear their words but then see it in my language and understand, that will be huge for those types of meetings. I really wish I had those for several of the meetings I attend. Beyond this, of course, that translation, as I mentioned, will work in these different environments, live, pre-recorded, using the microphone, you name it. Another big feature that's gotten a good amount of attention is Windows Recall. This is really quite helpful. You saw in that video, right? I could ask my computer, hey, what was that one PowerPoint presentation that had a red barn? It was talking about food waste. I can't remember where it was from. I can use Recall instead of my own memory, which can fail me sometimes, and it will pull up that exact moment in time where I was editing that deck. I'll know what deck it was. I'll know how to find it. Windows can bring it up for me. I can ask it questions about what's on my screen, ask it to pull in insights and much more. And it will do all of that without ever having a taste of internet connectivity because the feature is entirely local on the device. This is why we need 40 trillion operations per second with that fancy neural processing unit in order to run this experience. And it's important that it doesn't connect to the internet because of the way in which this feature operates. It takes snapshots of your screen periodically as you interact with Windows. Now, that is then interpreted by the AI model so that you can ask it questions. Rightfully so, people have concerns that they raise around privacy of this feature. If it's taking screen captures, it isn't discriminating. It can capture sensitive information. So we need to make sure that only the user is the one that is in front of the device when it's viewing this information. So Microsoft Windows Recall will require persistent user presence. That means the user needs to be here in front of the device, the sensors need to detect that the user's there, they successfully authenticate, then they can view those screenshots. If I have Windows Recall up and then I go wander off somewhere, that's not going to work. It's going to need for me to be in front of the device. It will close Windows Recall until I am back and authenticate again. That's important. It uses that Pluton security processor, BitLocker hard drive encryption, the same technology that our enterprise and federal government customers have been trusting for years with sensitive data. That encryption level is still applied to these screenshots. We also want both our customer organizations and end users to have full control over this feature. For this reason, IT administrators at an organization with one simple policy change can deny access to Windows Recall for all of their users, and they won't see this as an available option if that makes the organization feel more comfortable. However, we did not create the ability for an organization to force Windows Recall to be enabled on all of their users' devices. It isn't possible. Every individual human interacting with the computer must opt in to the experience, and it cannot be viewed by anyone other than the authenticated user on that device. That user can individually withdraw their consent to using Recall at any time, and they can also specify certain web pages and apps that Recall will never take a picture of. This is all a part of creating a very powerful tool that also earns customer trust. We realize that based on what we've been hearing from our customers, they want even more assurances that this feature is ready, so this feature was not available at launch and will be coming soon. Beyond that, here's some of the things that we could ask Windows Recall if we opt to use it. Things like, hey, I find that document I read 2 to 3 weeks ago. It has European demographic information. It's a pie chart. Oh, okay, here it is. Okay, great. Now, can you summarize the main points from this report in a table with 3 to 4 pros and cons? That's really powerful too. You can see the report all on that screen, generate that information for you when you are offline running the AI model locally. Beyond that, okay, we'll create an executive slide with a copy of that table with the 3 to 4 pros and cons and use the brand template for product X. Incredible. And I can do this on my device, saving me an immense amount of time, not having to go hunt for it, find that document, create the table myself. It can give me that inspiration. I review it as a human and make sure it's what I want, and then submit it, helping people to complete tasks even faster. Of course, in meetings is where AI can really shine, and when you have a Teams Premium license or a Copilot for Microsoft 365 license, some of these abilities I feel are incredibly impactful. Hey, we just finished this meeting. Recap the key takeaways and action items, who's responsible for what for each meeting on March 25th at 9 a.m. titled this. Great. Not only will it do that, it'll take all the notes for me so I can stay focused and in the moment in the meeting. Then, after that's over, can you just write an email to all of the meeting attendees, thank them for attending, recap those key takeaways and action items, and then create a Teams meeting invite to those same attendees titled Expansion Plan Follow-Up. Done. Easy. That's a lot of steps. This is us getting closer to that vision of being able to talk to your computer like it's a human assistant, where it can then go and do these things for you. I'm not saying that we're at that level yet, but it's a big step towards it and can help people save time, which is one of these key things that we feel this is able to do. Not only saving time, but eliminating routine tasks that are not taking advantage of our beautiful human brains. We want to use AI so that the humans behind the screen are able to do more creative and more valuable work. The routine stuff of trying to hunt for files and find documents and arrange the formatting in a Word document, this has the ability to save so much time for those users. And it can do that in a way that's a lot more secure. When customers move to Windows 11 Pro, 58% say that they have experienced a drop in security incidents since that change. 20% of organizations say, this is making my security and IT teams even more productive, which we love to see. Here in a single slide is the wrap-up of all of the features and capabilities that are unique to Copilot PCs. We have that power. I would say this is one of the most important pillars here. The performance of the device, the long battery life, and energy efficiency. New features like recall and Windows Studio effects and live captions. And this will continue to grow as new features are created and developed, and they will run on these Copilot PC experiences. Of course, having security, working with their existing tools and policies, and embracing modern device management, all an important part. So how do we position these Copilot PCs? I want to dive into this a little bit as well. So there are 4 key pillars to Copilot PCs. The most impactful, I feel, is the first pillar, powerful performance. Battery life, and it's fast. This is really new. So even if you don't want to use any of those AI capabilities, you'll know that when you have a Copilot PC, it's representing the fastest of Windows and the most long-lasting battery life. We also want to emphasize the security, the fact that it is ready to add business impact and operate within the IT environment of the customer, and then of course, talking about the features that help them get there. Big part of this is making sure that it is adding value for you, our partners. I want to share an interesting statistic that Microsoft has recently put out. For every $1 of revenue that we generate, our services-led partners earn 7 times that amount. To be specific, $7.63 for every $1 of Microsoft revenue. This is that building the stack, which you've been in that practice of doing for some time now. It's not just about the PC sale. It's about Copilot for Microsoft 365, Azure, Power Automate, Dynamics 365, a wide array of these other services that help complement the sale, in addition to your own service-led activities like kitting and asset tagging and supporting those users as they embrace this new AI future. So we do want all of our partners to think about how we can increase that total sale by looking at the other licensing available. But of course, all of it starts with a device. And so I want to walk you through, methodically, one by one, a variety of the different Copilot PCs that are available for your commercial customers from Ingram Micro. I'm going to start here with the Lenovo ThinkPad T14s Gen 6. Oh my, the Lenovo ThinkPad T14 has been around for a while, and this iconic device is getting these performance improvements. You'll see it has that classic ThinkPad nub that you have there with the left and right click. Another unique feature about this one is the privacy shutter that is integrated here. This device also features up to 64 gigabytes of RAM. That is distinct because not all of these Copilot PCs, in fact very few of them, offer RAM up to that amount. Most, including our own Surface devices, will only go up to 32 gigabytes of RAM in a Copilot PC. So that's kind of exciting to see from Lenovo. There are some other differences. This is using the X Elite processor. The display is a 14-inch display, and it does have an OLED option with that DCI P3 color ratio for rich rich visuals. On the topic of durability, it does meet the military standard 810H certification, which is required for a lot of federal customers and beyond, and much, much more. The Lenovo device, very popular. This is the only commercial Lenovo device that is assorted currently, but we expect to see more. From Dell, we have two commercial devices, the Dell Latitude 7455 and the Dell Latitude 5455. I'll jump back to the 7455 real fast. This is also a 14-inch display, but it has a very beautiful resolution. It's that 2560 by 1600 QHD plus resolution on this one. And this is in a 16 by 10 aspect ratio. When we talk about the maximum battery life, or the up to battery life number I showed you earlier, 22 hours of battery, that's the device that does it. The Dell Latitude, I should say, 7455, remarkably long lasting and very lightweight. 3.17 pounds is the weight of that device, and so it's even ready to go. Both the Lenovo and this Dell and most of our Copilot PCs are leveraging USB 4 as the connection standard. You may have sold devices in the past with Thunderbolt 4. USB 4 has similar speed capabilities. It also allows for all of the devices I'm showing you today to power 3 4K monitors at a refresh rate of 60 Hertz. If you're not as technical, the refresh rate is the smoothness of items as they move around the screen. 30 Hertz is generally considered distracting for most users. 60 Hertz is the goal. Previous to this, none of these devices in this category could do 3 monitors. They all could do 2, including with Intel's latest Core Ultra processors. Not the case with Copilot PCs. All of them support 3 monitors at 4K, which is really wonderful to see. Both the Lenovo and this Dell device feature optional 5G connectivity and an eSIM option as well. The difference between that 7455 and the Dell Latitude 5455, this is more of the budget-friendly business laptop that still packs a powerful punch. Similar screen aspect ratio, though it is not the same resolution. It's a bit lower, 1920 by 1200 display resolution, so that's more of a classic HD panel. That is how they get some of those savings. This is also the X Plus processor, whereas the 7455 is the Snapdragon X Elite processor, and there are some performance differences between them. The neural processing unit, though, is the same between them both. It's not only Lenovo and Dell, we also are happy to have Samsung here at the commercial table with the Galaxy Book 4 Edge. So this device also up to that 22 hours of battery life, which is so wonderful to see. I'm partial to the design that Samsung brings to this device and the positively gigantic trackpad that they have put on this so that you have this open area that you can use and interact with. A beautiful display with very thin bezels. And this display also is standard with an AMOLED display in that higher resolution, which we love to see. A lot of these devices I've shown you are using the Wi-Fi 7 standard, which we're happy to see. I believe the 5455 may be Wi-Fi 6E. I'm not 100% on that. But this also has pen support on the screen. It doesn't fold around or anything, but if you did want to use Samsung's S Pen on this display to ink and annotate things, that is an option for this laptop. Moving now to HP. HP has the EliteBook Ultra G1Q. This is, again, 14-inch display. We love these 14-inch displays, don't we? So many across the family. There's some great benefits to this device as well. We're a little light on the details. I don't have an official battery life quote, but it is going to be long in line with some of these other devices we have. The Bang & Olufsen partnership for rich audio out of this device continues. HP has some unique features as well, like HP SureView Reflect. This is an integrated privacy screen to help protect sensitive information without having to have an applique. That's available as an option. This comes in that Snapdragon X Elite processor with that larger display resolution, 2240 by 1400, which we really like to see. This one, even lighter than some of those other devices. This is 2.97 pounds in weight, and it also features that USB 4 connectivity that I mentioned before. I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about our own Microsoft Surface devices. There are two new members of the Surface family, the Surface Pro 11th edition and the Surface Laptop 7th edition. The Surface Pro is, out of all the devices I'm showing you today, the most versatile device because it is a two-in-one. This device is not just another 14-inch laptop. This is a 13-inch display on a tablet form factor. So this can be used as a tablet, or we can open up that kickstand on the back and use it as a laptop. Surface has launched a new Flex keyboard along with this device so that the keyboard not only can it detach, but it can still be used for up to 41 hours while it is detached. Now, don't get me wrong, the battery does not last 41 hours on the device, but the keyboard can last separated for 41 hours of continuous typing, which is really nice. This device here, a couple of the other key things about it. This has some options. You have your choice of the Snapdragon X Elite or the Snapdragon X Plus processor. This has that 45 trillion operations per second, as do all of these devices with that new processor capability. We also now, with Surface Pro, have the option of a full OLED display or an LCD display. All of them have that very high resolution, that 4K pixel density with 120 hertz refresh rate, which is really nice to see. There is also, of course, the Surface Laptop 7th edition. I've been talking a lot about this 14-inch screen size. There is no 14-inch screen size. You have your choice of a 13.8-inch screen size or a full, large 15-inch display option, making Surface Laptop 7th edition the largest option available for a Copilot PC from Ingram Micro. So this device here, it also features your choice of the processor, Elite or Plus. The resolution on these, pretty high with that 120 hertz refresh rate for that premium look and feel. The laptop in its 15-inch size also has that 22 hours of battery life that we've continued to see. And Surface devices are the most recyclable and most repairable devices of the families that I've shown you today. This device uses 67% recycled content in its construction. So honestly, regardless of which device you are positioning, you're the seller. You're going to know which one they're most comfortable with, which line of products that customer has more familiarity with and therefore would trust the Copilot PC from. We encourage you to learn even more about them. You'll hear in the coming months even more sessions from us, hopefully delivered here from this studio, where we can get more hands-on with some of these devices in more detail. Today is more so a sample platter to get you more familiar with all of these different devices. And we expect to see even more Copilot PCs from these names coming out soon, especially as we start to see the new silicon options from Intel, AMD, and NVIDIA. This is an exciting time to be a PC seller. And it always hasn't been, right? We've had a lot of competition. Apple has come in with devices that have long-lasting battery and powerful processors. We now have devices, multiple, that beat those processors in performance and battery life. We haven't had that ability to say that, and now we do. We're really happy to have you as our partners and excited with what we can achieve together. And I'm so grateful you took the time to join our session today. There's one last thing that I'd like to ask of you before we conclude our session. We want to know what you thought of our time together today. So there's a link that you see on the screen, and momentarily we will paste that link inside of the chat here in this Microsoft Teams meeting, presenting.live/im-copilot plus PC lineup-survey. You don't need to write all of that. It has just been pasted there in the chat. Please let us know what your thoughts are. And as always, if you have any questions or you'd like some additional support, please reach out to us at Ingram Micro. We are here to help. And with that said, I want to thank you for your time, for your attention, for being a valued partner of ours, and wish you a remarkable rest of your day.